I'd have to say it was right around this moment here where I got shot out of my hiding spot, panicked, and actually managed to hide back in the same spot again that I realized tucking on someone else's ship in Sea of Thieves and successfully staying hidden was quite possibly the greatest thing ever. Hi, my name is Cassius Stampede. I am a PS5 Sea of Thieves player. I just learned about tucking, and today we're going to show off my first tuck on a ship called the Manifest Explorer. But first, some context for what you're seeing on screen, and then we'll discuss how we got here. So this all started yesterday morning with a simple plan. Find an event in the public servers on Sea of Thieves and hide on the nearest island until a crew shows up to plunder it. Then, sneak onto that crew's ship while they are distracted with the event and hide for as long as possible. That's it. But more about that in a minute. Now, why would any sane person want to do this? Well, because I very recently learned that the public servers in Sea of Thieves are not only full of PvP sweats and boss-ass captains who are on their 6th year at sea. These seas are also full of shenanigans. Shenanigans like solid snaking your way onto someone else's ship and hiding in what can only be described as plain sight. Since launch, I have put in about 100 hours into Sea of Thieves, but see, I have been playing on PS5 as mentioned, and I only play on the private servers because of the reasons I just mentioned. And since I have absolutely no desire to mix it up with the Sea of Thieves vets, I chose to take to the private servers and sail the Swabby Seas, and I have enjoyed my 70% pay cut, and I have enjoyed my solo tall tales. But after a Sea of Thieves YouTube channel popped up in my feed for a dude named Mason, you may have heard of him, I was legitimately laughing out loud at what I saw. Now, to be clear, this guy Mason 100% will hide on your ship with a plan to steal your shit at some point. But everything I saw up to that point had me completely enamored. I felt like Inosuke in Demon Slayer, just hilariously speechless and in awe of what I was seeing. But I thought to myself, this has to be some kind of joke, right? There is no effing way that these crews are not seeing this man hiding behind their cannons and stuff while they're moving treasure on and off their ships. He had to stage this elaborate plan with people in his community, right? Because there's just no way. Well, after watching this channel for the better part of 2 to 3 weeks, I figured I would just try it out myself, and what you have been watching for the last few minutes is my first successful tuck. And while you cannot hear it because my mic is muted, I am laughing hysterically while it works. Now, as we circle back to the crew of the Manifest Explorer, Master Piggy 1216 and Zombie 9317 had absolutely zero idea I was on their ship with them, and even funnier than that, they actually got into a ship battle with me before I even hid from them. Like I mentioned up top, I saw an active public event pop up in the server and sailed over nearby to see if anyone was there, only to get shot at by the nearby fortress, and I got shot at from the island the event was taking place on before I arrived. Not long after that though, the crew of the Manifest Explorer sailed in and began to take shots at me too in an attempt to scare me away from the event. This was perfect because I wasn't even interested in the loot at all, just them. So I put up just enough of a fight, then sailed my ship in a random direction away from the island once I felt they thought I was beat. And as the island crew saw my ship leave, they began the event, and I secretly fired myself over to the island from my cannon, boarded their ship, hit record, hid myself, and waited. Now, I just knew that the moment one of these pirates got killed or boarded their ship for ammo or for some other reason, I would be found out. I'd be killed and back on my sloop in no time. This entire thing was going to be a waste of time. And then it happened. One of them died and respawned on the ship. They ran right past me. Giggling softly with my mic muted, I thought, okay. They were trying to get back to the fight quickly and just didn't have time to notice me, right? Let's ride this out and see if it happens again. It happened again. This time, both of them get themselves killed and respawn on the ship and are standing right in my line of sight. They move around the ship a little bit, but still they notice nothing. They both just head back to the island and continue killing skellies and blowing up kegs, giving me season pass and milestone progress in the process because I was close enough to the action. This goes on, no lie, for like 30 minutes. Just back and forth, on and off the ship they go, with no one seeing me, and me laughing silently to myself. One of the pirates even kept jumping on and off the ship to readjust the direction the ship was facing every 5 minutes or so and never saw a thing. I even moved from both cannon spots to a spot behind the wheel and still nothing. I am seriously amazed that this is even possible at this point when this crew finally finishes up the event and begins to load up their treasure. By the time we made it out to sea, I was almost in tears. This crew is walking around only a few feet away from me, sailing the ship for like 5 whole minutes and has no idea I am staring right at them. While laughing to myself, I start to think, well, how am I going to end this whole ordeal? Should I just run out in front of the crew like a maniac and jump overboard? Should I sneak off the ship and just pretend I was never there like a ghost? Or should I help them unload treasure once we arrive at our destination and just pretend like I was supposed to be here? Plenty of silly ideas danced around my silly head when I started to hear music. It's a skelly attack. Slight panic sets in as cannons fire all around me and I begin to weigh out my options. Stay hidden or play my cards now. Run away hysterically or help out like a true Chad. Yeah, I decided to stay hidden while 2 back-to-back skelly sloops attacked the crew, and as they battled for the Sea of Thieves, I battled apprehension. They would defend their treasure with their lives, and I giggled in the corner like a school kid laughing at fart jokes. Good times. But this crew was actually pretty good though. They managed to knock out both of the skelly sloops pretty quickly and loot the cargo once they were done. Things were coming up Millhouse, and once again we were en route to wherever we were going. But, unfortunately, things don't go my way for long, and I stay far less hidden when a skelly galleon shows up. This had to be the end of the line, I thought. With 4 cannons aimed in our direction and a galleon full of skeletons to fire them, I'm like, there's no way this is going to end well for me. And I thought the gig was up immediately when a firebomb went off a few feet from where I was hiding, because I assumed it would spread right to where I was tucked, forcing me to stand up and run away. But quick action from one of the crew douses the fire immediately, saving me a precious few more minutes. I won't lie, I was starting to feel quite invulnerable at this point and began another bout of laughter when it finally happened. A round fired in my direction and knocked me out of my hiding spot. Standing right out in the open with absolutely nowhere to hide. The only thing I could think of doing was waving because I thought I had been found out. But somehow I go unnoticed and managed to duck down flat on the deck. I waited a few seconds, hoping the galleon would continue to be a great distraction, and once the coast is clear, I re-hide myself behind the wheel just as the captain looks in my direction, laughing my ass off the whole time as it happens. Suddenly, out of nowhere, I see the galleon firing at something else off its starboard side. I realized at that moment that we must have been sailing around for about 10 minutes, consistently firing off cannons in every direction, and that may have drawn a little bit of attention to us. I honestly hoped that it was another skelly ship, but I knew better. Another crew had joined the fight. So I calmed down my laughter, finally, and think, okay, this is it, the moment of truth. I should just help out, right? Just grab some cannonballs, some wood planks, and shoot them at the enemy and maybe do some repairs. Make this crew realize that I'm one of them and we got this. No scurvy pirates are gonna steal your treasure. Not today. So I try to wait for my opportune moment to present myself. I'm only at 50% health, and what I don't want to happen is panic to ensue once I manifest out of thin air on the Manifest Explorer. So I keep an eye out on the skelly galleon, and I keep an even closer eye on that sloop, because if another pirate fires themselves over here, the gig is up. There's no way I'm going to end up pretending to help out. I'm just going to get cut down instantly. So as the galleon noses our way, and as the sloop noses our way, I start to look for that moment. I think, okay, here it comes. As both captains descend down to the lower decks to take care of repairs, I start to think, do I even have cannonballs? Can I check my inventory right now without standing up? Am I going to be able to pull this off before these guys run back upstairs? So many things started to run through my mind at the last second. Again, this is my first tuck, but unfortunately, there was no time. Just as we arrive at the Reaper's hideout, I get shot out of my hiding spot again, and one of the ship's crew members dies as it happens. In an absolute panic, I tried to revive the crew member only to get myself cut down by the second member. In hindsight, it makes sense, all things considered. I mean, of course, they would think I'm a part of the crew that's attacking them, and not some rando who's been tucking on their ship for the better part of an hour. I respawned on some random island next to my ship, which must have been sank at some point on its journey, but totally worth it. 10 out of 10 will tuck again. Keep an eye out for me. Thanks for coming by.